On behalf of the Admiral at the Lake and the sales team, welcome. We're so happy that you joined us, and we look forward to spending the time together. To outline our agenda, first the presentation here in the gathering room. At the top, the presenters will speak for about 10 minutes, and then we'll have approximately about 20 minutes at the end for question and answers. And we'll have a microphone that Helen will be helping us with as we go around one-on-one with those questions. And we'll be ending here around noon. Following the presentation, we'll all go to the waterfront restaurant on the 6th floor, overlooking the lake for lunch. And we'll have some residents here gathering towards the end of the presentation to help us escort people. Then around 1 o'clock, we'll break into small groups for tours of about 3 of our available residents, our model apartments, and we should be done by about 1:30 or 2. So that's kind of an outline for today. I've had people ask, what's today's event title? And I've been calling it Real Estate and Rightsizing. And then the follow-up question is, well, what's rightsizing? And it's really kind of a newer term just for downsizing. It could also be called, is this the right time to sell my house? Sorry, I better put this back on. And the answer is yes. It could also be called, the next question could also be, well, then what do I do with all my stuff? So Amy, Kite, and Marnie Dawson have expertise in real estate and rightsizing, and today they'll answer some of these questions and provide insights for you on why now, in 2021, it's the right time to move to the Admiral at the Lake. To get started, I'd like to introduce our sales and marketing team. That's helping host the event today. Cody Hoopman, our sales and marketing assistant, and Grant Egan, our residency counselor. Thanks for helping putting the event together. I'm so proud of our team. The sales and marketing team, Cody, Grant, and I, we assist residents with every step of the way. From the start, including sharing all aspects of the amenities of the community with you, helping you to explore the different types of resident apartments that are a financial fit for you, and detailing the value of life care and how it offers you financial security and priority access to care. And then we also introduce you to residents so you can hear firsthand what it's like to live at the Admiral and ask any questions that you have about moving to the Admiral. And then to help you finish it all the way through, from start to finish, the finish is helping you with the move-in process and making sure you meet others, get settled in your new home, and meet people within the community, and plus make new friends. So should you have any questions today or into the future, Grant, Cody, and I are here to explore your options and offer guidance along the way. I'd like to introduce myself. I've asked our 2 presenters to share a little bit about themselves, as well as their background. I'm Katie O'Brien. I'm Director of Sales and Marketing here at the Admiral at the Lake. I'm very proud to be part of the Admiral team. I've been at the Admiral for about 2 years now, and as my role as the lead in the sales and marketing team, I'm also part of the executive team, led by Nadia Geigler, our CEO. And because of Nadia's leadership, because of our resident-driven community, and because of all the wonderful people that live and work here, I have found the Admiral to be truly a unique and wonderful place. And I'm glad you're here to see some of that with us today. I have a passion for sales and marketing, and I've spent about half of my career in marketing of not-for-profit organizations. And if you don't know, the Admiral at the Lake is a not-for-profit organization. And in my background also includes about 10 years as a director of a Chamber of Commerce. The other half of my career was in small business development, including working within the industry of quality consulting, graphic design and agent and advertising, as well as about the past 10 years in healthcare. I'm the youngest of 6 kids in an Irish Catholic family, and I love being part of a big, fun, energetic clan, which again I think is very similar to being here at the Admiral. I guess it's one of the reasons I love it here. And I also was lucky to grow up on the Mississippi River, on the bluffs of the Mississippi, in a small town called Keokuk, Iowa, in southeast Iowa, at the confluence of the rivers, just a bridge away from Illinois and a bridge away from Missouri. And again, I think it's another reason why I love the Admiral. I grew up on the river, and I found that water truly fills my soul. So being here close to the Lake Michigan, seeing the beautiful views every day adds to my day. And I love to travel, and I've had the opportunity to explore much of the United States, and I've also traveled abroad, but I find myself most connected to the Midwest. I moved to Chicago about 10 years ago, and I've truly enjoyed exploring all that the city has to offer. So I'm guessing a lot of you are born and raised in Chicago. So I think 10 years, I feel like I've been here quite a while, but still people call me new to Chicago. Just this year, I moved to Uptown neighborhood from Oak Park, which eliminated about an hour commute each way. And I now live just a block from the beach and the lakefront walking trail. So I've truly enjoyed getting to know the Uptown neighborhood and seeing what's all the fun spots to go. So now let's start with downsizing and right-sizing. I'd like to introduce Marnie Dawson. Marnie founded Dawson Relocation Services in 2008. Part of the reason she created the company was because she understands that downsizing and moving is overwhelming and emotional. She wanted to create a way to honor the emotions while also helping to manage the logistics of the change. She has a team made up of people who are creative, thoughtful, and organized, and we've had the pleasure of working with Marnie for a number of years. She's a great partner of ours. Many of our residents have worked with her and have stories of how she helped them, and they're very grateful for her assistance. So please help me to welcome Marnie for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me here today, Katie, and for all of you coming to hear about downsizing and talking a little bit about kind of helping you with that downsizing process as you prepare to move maybe to the Admiral. To your point, Katie, I've been here 21 years now, and I still wonder if I'm truly a Chicagoan yet. An alderman the other day told me I was, so I'm going to believe him and say I'm now from Chicago, but I don't think it really counts. So, like Katie said, I founded Dawson Relocation Services in 2008, and it had one true goal: helping people downsize and move. Because not many people like to move. The idea of packing, dealing with movers, unpacking, most people really don't enjoy this process. And it can be nice to have some assistance. Someone who's done this many times and can help with the planning, the logistics, provide resources, and also help with the physical aspects. And that's what my small but mighty team, that's what I call them, do pretty much every single day. We are what you call an accredited move management company with the National Association of Senior Move Managers. I've been involved with that organization since I started my company. We have education, training. So this is not just my passion and my small business, it's also something I take very seriously and try to stay up on what's happening in the world. Now, I have been working with the Admiral since this new building was constructed. I helped some of the first residents move in and get settled. I actually helped some of the residents who were in transition while the building wasn't even here. So I've been helping out the Admiral and working with the Admiral for a while. And the thing that makes this job special, especially at the Admiral, is how everyone is an individual. Even when the floor plan that you choose is exactly the same as the person above you or underneath you, the end result of what your new apartment looks like and how you live in it is truly unique to each of our clients. I have worked with folks who recreate their home environment. Every piece of furniture, artwork, every detail is exactly the same as it was in their home wherever they came from. Others I've worked with have gotten rid of absolutely everything and start fresh, all in their new space. And that's a different challenge. And I've worked with people who just chose to recreate a little, bring some of their favorite things, and just make the new space work for them. And that's the fun of what I do, is every day you can have something a little different for the situation. I have worked with many, and I can't think of the exact number. I tried to go through my records and figure out how many.
I've wondered that too.
But if we think 5 for the past 10 years, at least 50, if not more, residents moving in here to the Admiral. Some I help with just furniture and space planning. That's all I do. I meet with them, I help them map out a furniture plan, and they carry on their own. Others, we actually get involved and meet the movers on move day and help unpack and set them up. And others, we help with total full move support. All the soup to nuts, A to Z, that you might need when you're planning a move. So you might be thinking, what exactly does she do? So we start, and I typically do this with almost everybody, we start by working with you to create a furniture plan for your new home. They give you here at the Admiral, they'll give you your floor plan and it's to scale, and then you start to think about what am I going to put into my new space? How am I going to make it work? We come to your home and we map it out for you, help you figure out what furniture will fit, where it'll fit nicely, make sure you have clear pathways, make sure it makes the home that you want it to make. I think this part of the process is a crucial part of any downsize, because it helps you understand what you can bring, how much space you have, how many bookshelves, how many dresser drawers. It helps you to understand where your closets fit into your new space, helps you understand your kitchen cabinets, and it just helps to get kind of that first firm footing into the downsizing process. Then we get to know people and try to figure out who they are and what's important to them. You are going to have so many decisions, from what possessions you bring with you to deciding what things you're not going to take. It can be a little overwhelming. I hear that word a lot. I try to get rid of that word. We work with you to sort through the items. We pull things down from cabinets, shelves. We talk through your decisions. Do you still actually like the item? Did Cindy give it to you and you don't like her anymore, but you're still holding on to it? Do you actually use the item? Is it something in your home you have just in case? How many have just in case items in your house? We all do. Do you need to bring all your just in case items? Is there a family member who you would like to gift this item to now, rather than waiting until waiting till you pass away? And if you do choose to bring it, where are you going to put it in your new home? I'm often talking to my clients and point out, we filled your linen closet 3 times. Maybe we need to think about how many linens, how many things that we're bringing into that new space. Now, once you've made some decisions about what you're going to move, we can help you with coordinating things from selling things, shipping things to family, making inventories and taking things to donation, and we have all sorts of great resources to help make your decisions happen. We have some that are creative solutions. You might have a specific place you want to donate something to. We have the get it done quickly method too. Sometimes you need to have it done by Tuesday, and we can jump in and help you get it done by Tuesday. The other thing about our company is we help pack. Now, we don't help pack like a moving company does. We pack with an organized plan. We are in your home thinking about what your new home is going to look like, and we're packing for that. We label things clearly. We know what things are going to go in the bottom drawer, the middle drawer, the top drawer. That's my number one question. Do I have to pack my dresser? And yeah, you do. Movers like dressers empty. But we have a system for how to pack it and how to put your things back in your dresser in the right order. We're thinking about how to unpack and set you up in your new place, because our goal is for this transition to be as smooth as possible. And on move day, we're right there with you. Move day is a very long day. It can be 8. The other day I did a move that was 10 hours. We had a little delay, and the move day went very long. So it's good to have support on move day to help manage all those details and finish any last minute packing, and just be there while the movers are loading and unloading. We also assist with the unpack setup process. Remember how I said we have labels for your dresser? So we'll put your dresser drawers back the same way they started. Okay, occasionally we have things upside down in the drawers, but in general it's in the right drawer for you. We make your bed. We put your plug in your lamps. We just are there to help make that first day transition smooth and get everything unpacked for you and set up. Now, we understand that every move is a bit different, and the amount of assistance that you will need will vary. We offer everything from full service assistance, or like I said, we can just help you map out a furniture plan for your move, whatever you need, because you're unique and you have your own needs. And the good news is, to help you get started, the Admiral provides 10 hours of our services, so that's worth jumping in and getting a little help. Now, one of the things that I wanted to talk about today, because we're here, we're all masked up, we are still in the middle of a pandemic, and people ask me all the time about, can you move during a pandemic? And the answer is yes, you can move during the pandemic. You can move safely as well. I have been moving, we slowed down a little last March, but since then we have been continuing, my team has been continuing to move, and there are some things to think about while you're moving. The first thing is you need to plan. I can tell you some of the best movers are already booked for most of September. They still have a couple dates left, but movers book out earlier than ever. So getting your mover booked early is something that you want to do. There are lots of good movers out there, so you will be able to move, but plan early. The other thing, and it might be a little controversial, is everybody should wear a mask while you have all these people coming and going from your home. Even if you're vaccinated, you don't know if the movers are vaccinated, you don't know if the packers are vaccinated, you don't know who or where everybody's been. So wear your masks and plan for social distancing. You don't want to be standing in the middle of a move day with a bunch of people coming at you. So that's where that floor plan is. With your furniture plan, you can hand that to the mover so they know where to put things. You can stand off to the side and be there to answer questions, but plan for not being right in the middle of the chaos. And with that same thought, a lot of people have big families that want to come in and help, and that's great, but only if they're coming in to help. The other day I did a move, we had 6 family members come to check on mom at the end of the move day. So we had 4 movers, 2 of my team unpacking, 6 family members, and my client in a 2-bedroom apartment. That got a little tight. That got a little uncomfortable. So you want to plan for how people come and go on your move day and help keep everybody safe on move day. And know that everything's going to be a little bit slower and take just a little longer. That includes making arrangements, because some people are still working remotely, to the actual pack days and move days, because there are added protocols for keeping everybody safe. So start early and be as patient as possible. The good news is I've been moving people almost every week since this happened, and we've been safe in keeping our clients safe. So it can be done, and it's not a reason to stop. It just takes a little more creativity. I can talk about downsizing and moving all day, and I've covered quite a bit, and I know we're going to have time for questions, so I'm going to stop now, and I'm here if you need me later.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, Marnie.
Thanks, Katie.
Before my move to Uptown, you had shared some tips on organizing and sorting closets, which really proved valuable. And even just, how you take the stress out, your demeanor, your ability to help people is really valuable. Thank you so much. I do feel like I have a different volume, so I need to project some up. Now on to real estate. So it's my pleasure to introduce Amy Kite, who's here to share her insights on the current real estate market. Amy is a top expert in her area. She has netted 98.7% of asking price for her clients for the past 3 years. She's a broker with her own real estate team, Kite Team, Keller Williams Infinity. They are in 8 counties in Chicagoland area, and you may have seen her on WGN TV or on the radio WGN and WBBN. Please help me welcome Amy for being with us today.
Thank you very much. I will speak very loud. I think it probably has to do with the mask.
Yeah.
All right. So I am Amy Kite. If you've watched WGN TV, you've seen Barbara Corcoran. She's actually a mentor of mine. So if you know Shark Tank, you've seen Barbara Corcoran. I'm also on multiple radio stations. On Saturdays, I do a radio show, Home Sweet Home Chicago, from 10 to 1 on WGN radio. So I have a lot of expertise in the Chicagoland market. I have a team of 7 licensed agents who are scattered throughout Chicagoland to help people buy or sell their properties. Sherry is here with me today. She's actually one of our listing agents, and she's somebody who would help you if you were interested in selling. We also have Justin here. He's our marketing director. So he helps us market properties and get our educational information out. We are a team who first comes to educate. It is not about selling your property, it is about educating you about the market so that you can make a decision on whether it's the right time or not to move. Now, Katie brought it up earlier, and she said, is it still a good time? And the answer is absolutely. I have been in real estate since 2004. Prior to that, I actually ran a company in Europe for 7 years, and I was a headhunter. So I have had multiple different positions, and it always does end up being sales. It's just one of the things that I truly enjoy. So our clientele ranges the whole gamut, right? So we help people who have small condos to sell on up to $1 million+ properties. Our process is always to come into the property. We gather information about your property up front, and then we come into your property and we look around to be able to give you an assessment of what the market is going to pay today. Many people rely on the tax assessor, the assessment sheet that some people have gotten, others, well, Cook County tax assessments are online, but they haven't, I don't think they hit the mailboxes yet. I'm still waiting on ours. Did you get it in the mail? Okay, I have not gotten mine. You haven't either. So some people rely on that tax assessor's value to say, what's my property worth? Other people rely on Zillow. Reality is, none of them have been in your property. None of them know what you have in it. And Cook County is notorious for having inaccurate information, right? So we come in and we physically walk through the house, sit down, we look at the comparables in the market to determine, comparables being properties that have sold, to determine what your property would sell for today, okay? At that point, we can also go over with you what you could do to improve the value of your property. Some things are as simple as removing some furniture or some odd and end knickknacks out of the house. Sometimes it's that simple. Other times you may need to consider painting, maybe replacing carpet or having carpets cleaned. We will go over all of that with you and give you ideas of what you can do in order to increase your value. It is totally up to you whether you do those items. We don't make anybody do anything, but we will provide you with, listen, if you were to do this, your property could sell here. If you don't do it, the property would sell here. You may say, it's not worth it to me to go through the headache to do the work, I'd rather sell it here, and that's fine. So we provide you a lot of different options on what you can do. You may say, listen, I'd like to do that because I like the increase in value I can get. Who do you know who can help us? And we may be able to lead you to a good contractor. They are busy, right? So let's go back to Chicagoland and the real estate market, all right? Real estate market was moving along very nicely in the early 2000s. And then we had the crash. Crash hit, started at about 07, 08, went down. 2011 was about the bottom. Okay, now usually market trends are 4 to 5 years in both directions, okay? So 2007 down to 2011, 4-year drop. Guys, some properties drop as much as 50%. It was horrible, right? In the Chicagoland market, that 50% decline, it took us until the pandemic for some properties to get back to their value. In fact, the vast majority. And we still have some properties that are not back to their 07 pricing. Okay? So understand that this 4-year decline, it took us 10 years, 9-10 years to get back to value. All right? What took place in the spring, everybody, if you listen to the news, they were all talking about the crazy real estate market, right? Oh my gosh, people are lining up, multiple offers on properties, things that we had never dealt with here in Chicagoland. Now, for those of us in the real estate business, we heard about this happening out in California all the time. They get 40, 50, 60, 100 offers on a property. That wasn't what Chicagoland was. It did happen. We literally had people lining up 10 to 15 deep in the middle of the pandemic. So when you say, can you move? People have moved like crazy. It has been the hottest real estate market that Chicagoland has seen, okay? So people are moving. Now, market shifted in May. It has slowed down. Now, what caused the real estate boom that we actually saw was a lack of inventory. All right, so it was really driven by the fact that there weren't a lot of properties out there, but there were a lot of buyers because the interest rates were nice and low. And so that encouraged people who may have been renting, right? Maybe first-time buyers, and certainly people who had decided during a pandemic they needed more space to move up, right, and buy new properties. So we saw this market take off and move very quickly. In May, it shifted, and what we're seeing now is it's a better market in the fact that buyers can think about properties. Buyers have a little more time to determine what the best offer is to make. They aren't throwing offers at the wall and then getting cold feet. So we're actually finding that this market is better for everybody. Now, we are not getting the multiple offers that we had, all right? We still get multiple offers on some properties, but we aren't getting 40. We literally would, we'd gotten 30 and 40 on some properties prior to May. But it is a great time to consider selling, okay? So if this is something that you're on the fence, I would tell you, at least get an idea of what your value is today to help you make a decision on whether now is the right time to move. We do not expect this market to take off again like it did. We are expecting a similar amount of inventory. They are still anticipating that it will be low inventory. What we are providing to, I'm hoping everybody, if we had the zip code in which you live in, we've got a packet with some data for you on what your market is doing currently. Okay? So in the packets that we have, this is a 3-year trend. So every one of these sheets is a 3-year trend. The first one is going to talk about the average sales price in your area, and you can see what the average sales price has done. The next one is going to be the market time. So the number of days that it is taking a property on average to go under contract. In some cases, you're going to find these are as little as 30 days, and in other cases, you're going to find that they're 80 to 100. It depends upon where you live. We also have something that shows you months of supply. What that means is how many months will it take to sell everything that is currently for sale. Understand, a stable market is considered 6 months. You will find some areas have 1 month worth of inventory, 1 to 2. That is a heavy seller's market. You will find others that have 6 months. So it truly depends upon where you live, what your market is doing right now. The other thing it'll show you is the number of homes currently for sale and the number of properties that have closed. Just to give you some data on what's going on in your particular zip code. Now, these graphs are for everything in the market. All resale residential properties, being single family, condo, and townhome. We will specifically bring you information about your price range, number of bedrooms, so on and so forth. But we wanted you to get some kind of idea of what's going on in your real estate, in the real estate market near you right now, okay? Like I said, we come in, Sherry would be the one who would come in. She'll go over all the data with you and just give you an idea of what's going on so that you can make the right decision for you about whether now's a great time, okay?
Well, that's extremely helpful. Thank you for talking about your process as well as talking about the market. And we do have some more specifics that we'll be sharing with you too. We've been hearing a lot from the media and from family and friends about what's really happening, so it's great to get your expertise. Thank you so much. Our firsthand experience here at the Admiral, we've had a number of people who've been able to sell their homes in 2021 in a short amount of time frame. Specifically, three of our last three move-ins were able to take advantage of our 30-day closing discount of 2% off their entrance fees because of the strength of the market and their ability to quickly sell their homes. So that's one of our specific examples here. So let's jump into the Q&A if we're ready. We also have Helen here. So if you wouldn't mind, if you have a question, to raise your hand and we'll work through them one by one with Helen. We do ask everybody to ask their question with a microphone if possible. Are there any questions right now? Okay, we have one.
You talked about knowing that somebody had 3 times too much stuff for their linen closet. How do you tell and how people tell what is too much stuff?
So, a good question. That was sort of a joke of, as we're sorting through, people say they'll want to keep this and they want to keep this, and we start to kind of sort through what you're willing to let go of, and then looking at what you want to keep. And then we look at that and try to assess where is it going to fit. And sometimes I'll look at that pile of what people want to keep and realize it will fill your linen closet multiple, like we'll talk about where it goes. And so we just kind of, it's a matter of looking at what your floor plan offers and looking at what you want to keep and kind of balancing the two. Because there's nothing worse than moving in a place and having 20, 30 boxes that have nowhere to go. So our mission is to kind of help you understand that ratio.
Thank you, Marnie.
Hi, I've been working on downsizing quite a bit, but my biggest nemesis are pictures. I have 3 boxes, all different sizes, and the only thing that's ever been recommended is putting them on a DVD or something like that, which is kind of expensive. And also, I have found in the past, things like DVDs will become outdated in time, then what? So I'm wondering what is the answer for how to handle pictures?
So you could spend entire days doing presentations on this, so I'll give you a couple ideas. The first thing is to think about why you're keeping all of the photographs and kind of come up with what your mission is for why you're keeping it. If it's to disperse to your family, now's the time to take that time and create a big room and start dividing it up and disperse it. If it's because you want to keep some family history, that's a different mission, and sort of figure out what your mission is for keeping it. Then, unfortunately, you do have to go through them one by one and sort them out and make some decisions. Some people they've taken a bunch of cruises in their life, and they have all these cruise albums, and they say, I don't need the cruise albums, I just need the one picture from the cruise albums. Others come up with criteria. If there's duplicates or things that look similar, they keep their favorite. So you have to make some criteria and sort through it. And in the end, you end up with a box or a smaller group of boxes of things that represent why you want to keep it. And if you can disperse it, disperse it.
Yeah, thank you, Marnie. We have another question here that we're getting the microphone to.
I'm curious, are your services included in these prices, or are they separate?
They're separate.
This is a big building. Are there different banks of elevators to get to your unit? And if there are, how many? Is there like 4 elevators?
Yeah, so we have different elevators. We have the tower elevators, that's a bank of 3. We also have our garden elevator, which is one elevator, but it's for a smaller group of apartments. And then Harbors, which is our healthcare, has a bank of 2 elevators. And then of course there's stairs throughout for accessing different floors. And that's also one of the questions, like, you can ask, when we're meeting with residents, some of that really specific experience around getting around the Admiral, you can ask some detailed questions too about, do they find that that's appropriate, or what, how do they find the elevator situation here? So I know it from working here, but it'd be good to hear directly from a resident. We had another question here.
If you start out, say, in independent living, who decides when it's time for you to move to assisted living?
Sure.
And if all you need is somebody to put out your pill reminder and or help wash your bag in your shower, can you have that done in your independent living unit, or do you have to then move to assisted?
Yeah, thank you for the question. So independent living, we have 196 independent living apartments. And then we have Harbors, which is healthcare, which includes memory care, assisted living, skilled care, and short-term rehab. So to move into life care, to move into independent living, you have to qualify for life care. And life care is an assessment around financial fit, health fit, which is basically is independent living, the appropriate level of care, and also community fit. And that's just an understanding of the expectations from both sides of what it's like to live in a community, from the resident perspective as well as from the Admiral perspective, to make sure that those are aligned. So if you're living in independent living, you are living your best life. It's totally independent living. You're taking advantage of the amenities. You can bring in care into your independent living apartment at whatever level you would like. And then we do work there is a transition team that works with you, your family, whoever you'd like to be involved, as well as our social worker, and then our healthcare staff work together to start looking at if there's a transition needed and what would be the appropriate care that's needed. There's different levels in assisted living, then also if it's memory support or skilled. So there's a team that works over time with you and your family for that transition into healthcare, when or if it's needed. Is there another question? I know one of the questions that was submitted in head, I'll go ahead and ask. So this one was for more along the lines of real estate. What's kind of the difference between the single family market and the condo market in the Chicagoland area?
Right, so, the single family market, probably more due to COVID, has taken off a little faster than the condo market, but I have to tell you, your condo inventory levels are still generally below 6 months worth of inventory. So we're actually finding them both move very quickly. Because too, some people who have, have been in the big houses who now, can sell it for a premium dollar, have chosen to move into the condo market too. So it's absolutely moving, single family slightly faster.
And then I have another question that was asked. Are there difficult areas in the Chicagoland area that are difficult, that you're having difficulty with selling? Specifically related to, I think that specifically kind of related to the pandemic? Or
We did see, I would say more last year, where things had slowed down more in the city. And yet markets picked back up in the city. So yeah, there was a time last year where the market had slowed down, I think due to COVID, I think due to the unrest. People were less focused on moving into the city, but that's all virtually rectified itself now. And literally, I mean, I'd have to go zip code by zip code, neighborhood by neighborhood to literally look at it, because there are some places literally that have 1 month of inventory and others that have 6. But generally, we aren't finding much over 6 months of inventory, which is a stable market.
And thank you very much for all your input. Amy, this is for you. I was wondering if, in the process of any of us choosing a real estate company and agent, I've always heard it's good to interview 2 or 3 different groups. Could you give me an idea about good interview questions? What should we ask in an interview situation? Because I've never done that before.
Sure. So one of the things I would ask is how long you have physically been in the business. We are now at 1.4 million realtors. Understand that there are 400,000 new realtors to the market. So there are a lot of brand new people. So I would ask, how long have you been in the market? I would ask how many properties you have actually sold. And that being you, not your company. Because some agents, especially those that don't sell a lot, will tell you what their company has sold, not them specifically. Because you need somebody who's got experience to help guide you through this process. So you don't want somebody who's brand new, because they're not going to know what you need to watch out for. So, so I would start with those 2. Ask about their marketing, what they do to actually sell a property. And you're going to want to know, you're going to want to compare what different people do to actually sell properties. I would ask for list to sales price ratio. Here's why. You have some agents who will take a property listed very high, and then all they're going to do is just keep knocking you for a price reduction, knocking you for a price reduction. That is not who you want. You're going to get the most money if you price it right to begin with. But if you overprice it, every time you do a price reduction, you actually are probably going to sell it for less than what you would have had you priced it right. So ask them about their list to sales price ratio. That will tell you how honest they are with the seller and how good they are at pricing. I have had numerous agents who have attempted to be on our team. And the most important thing to me when it comes to actually the sales process is whether they can price a property right. Because it just causes so much frustration if they don't. So that, and then maybe days on market. Their average days on market, that'll tell you also if they're pricing a property appropriately or not. So those are some good starts, and we're happy to send you over a list.
Great questions.
At the start, before we officially started, somebody asked about what to do about collections of art, of whether it's art or how do you connect with things that you might want to get rid of that you hope to have value. Could you just talk generally about either collections of things that they want to?
Yeah, so if you have collections of things, you might have a large amount of handbags or artwork or other things. There are places out there that can help you, it's sort of a broad question, but there are different ways to assess the value of those things and find some resources for it. There are auction houses, there are auction houses for artwork, there are consignment places for name brand shoes and handbags. There are lots of different resources out there for letting go of those pieces and selling them. The market is a little, because all these people are selling and moving and and all these things, the market does have a lot of stuff in it right now, so inventory of stuff is pretty high. If you've ever gone to the Goodwill and seen the line of people waiting to just drop off their stuff at the Goodwill, it shows you there's a lot out there. So resale isn't as high as it used to be on things, but there are still some items out there, so it's worth doing a little research and finding somebody to help you, and we can do that. I think you guys have a estate sale company as part of what you do. There are people out there that can help you navigate that and find out if your stuff is donation or if the stuff is worth taking the time and energy to resell it.
Do you feel that it's better to put a house up for sale before you've moved into a retirement community? Or is it better to go ahead and move into the retirement community and then put your house up for sale? There's probably pros and cons of each way.
I have my perspective as a downsizer. I bet you have another perspective as a real estate agent.
Well, and my perspective comes from each individual. There are certain individuals who cannot take the stress of having people in and out of their properties. So, and then being more high risk and everything else, my guidance is always, if you have the opportunity to move first, do it. Not everybody can, but if you physically can, your life will be so much easier if you are physically moved and you don't have to leave for the showings, right? You don't have to make certain, everything's constantly cleaned up. You don't have to worry about, people wearing their masks while they did the showing. If you have the opportunity, move before you put the property up for sale.
And I would agree if you do, it's not always an option. But that way you're not trying to hide the family photos and then packing those up and then moving them. And, because there is a certain amount of staging that you need to do to put your home on the market no matter what. So if we can figure out what you want to move and get you moved and get all of the stuff you want to keep out, it just makes putting the house on the market just a little easier. But it's not always an option, and that's where, that there are lots of good tricks and lots of good things that can happen to make it as easy as possible on you.
And I think I will piggyback on some of the comments made. I think that there are things that you could be doing now, even while you're deciding do you sell before or after. And you heard from Amy, it's a good time for you, it's good to know what your current real estate value might be worth, so do that exploration. It's worth to start working on downsizing. I've heard a few people mention they're already working, but you could also already be starting to work on that piece too. And then just from the Admiral perspective, there is a timing piece that plays into when you sell your home too. So there's about a 2 to 3 month time frame from when you put a hold on an apartment, so you've identified which apartment you'd like, and then to your actual closing. And we are offering a 30-day closing, but there's about a 3 to 4 week just of the life care assessment, and then there's the 60-day close or the 30-day close. So we're also even just talking about a 3-month time frame from the community standpoint. And that really is a good point for me to roll into some of my comments before we wrap up. So they just mentioned now is the time, now is a good time. And we're here, Cody, Grant, and I are here to help you every step of the way. Before you leave today, be sure to talk with Grant or Cody and set up an appointment to learn more, because we do have a 2021 savings program that also adds another reason why it's a good time to be considering moving to the Admiral. Our 2021 savings program includes 2 free months, and of course we also include working with Marnie as part of it. Plus we are announcing our opportunity to lock in 2021 pricing if you close by the end of the year on one of our available apartments. And that's a savings program that's significant not only on the entrance fee, but it's also significant on the monthly service fee over time so beyond just the first year into the future years. So again, we can do one-on-one appointments and explain what that means for you in your particular situation or for a specific available apartment. But I think that's a great place to kind of end the presentation part. And we'll have plenty of time to do some one-on-one conversations as we head into lunch. Be sure during lunch you'll have an opportunity to talk with our residents. We have some members of our resident liaison committee that will be joining us and sitting at tables. So if you have any questions, you can hear from them firsthand of what it's like to live here and what their move-in was like. But before we kind of process out of this room and head to lunch, let's thank Amy and Marnie for all of their help. We're definitely available either now or at lunch or following this time at any time. They have some materials for you. I'm going to turn it over to Cody. So we're going to be heading to the 6th floor for lunch, and we have escorts for you. So this would be a time for you to have a restroom break if you'd like. We'll be going in small groups up to the 6th floor. So.
One last question.
Sure.
How long has the Admiral been an assisted living place like this?
So our mission is 160-year-old. Our mission is 160 years old. We are one of the first not-for-profits in Chicagoland to serve seniors. And we're currently been in this building about 9 years. And that was on a previous footprint of the Admiral of the Lake. So we're 150-year-old. Our mission has evolved over time, and our current mission is as a life plan community that includes the full continuum of care, independent living, and then the healthcare services.
No, the reason I ask is because of, the condo problems in Florida and how well this building is maintained and have, that kind of thing.
Sure.
So 9 years.
Yep, we're 9 years. This is a 9-year-old building. A little, almost 9 years, I guess. People have been here for over 9 years. So the building was completed as people moved in.
Thank you.
Yes. Is there another
I
question?
have a question. I was lost in traffic. Do you, in your diet, go by no GMOs or no gluten and those type of things? Meals?
So that will be a specific question. I'll have you refer to our culinary services who will be present at our lunch. We could have some, I don't know the whole scope of our dining services related to dietary specifics. So, yes.
I wondered if we could actually have a tour of the apartments rather than just see sketches of 1 room and 2 bedrooms and so on.
Yep, so we've completed our presentation. We're gonna head to lunch, and following lunch, we're going to go into 2 small groups for tours, which will include 3 of our available apartments that are model apartments today.
And when or how are you going to present the information about, what your options are, what the costs are, what the specific units are available? How do we learn about the Dawson? I appreciate learning about the moves and the real estate, but how do we learn about the Dawson?
Yeah, so our next step would be to have one-on-one appointments with our residency counselor. So I'll connect you with Grant as we head up to the dining room. But to tell you about our current status, we currently have 5 apartments that are available in independent living. And we've been doing some catch up from COVID. So we're at currently around 95% occupancy.
I just want to add something to his question. I have a client that lives in Woodstock. During the crash, they said that their house was under the purchase price, and they just decided to downsize and move from a beautiful house to like a condo. And they said that the stress of the whole thing was so non-existent practically, because they bought the place that they want to live in. They had time to move, at their pace into the new place, have things painted, etc., the way they wanted. While the other house was on the market, they sold their house within 10 days with 2 female buyers that went nuts for the place. And it was double the price of what they bought it for. And they got exactly what they wanted. They spent some money, of course, updating, cleaning, but they had time to get all the extra stuff out and put it into the new place. And so that's why I wanted to add to his question, because it was amazing. They had no idea that the market was that great, and they got double what they paid for when the crash was under the purchase price that they had. So I guess it is a great time to sell and to move, and so I just want to add to that.
Great. That's a great wrap-up point. So, we're gonna have to, okay, this will be our last question, because we're gonna have to,
You're encouraging people to move in this year and in the available apartments. If the available apartments aren't exactly what you would like, would there be a possibility of moving into another unit later on?
Yes, we do. We do offer a leapfrog. So if you were to move into an apartment that's available now, and you would go onto our internal wait list for the apartment that you're waiting for. And we have also, the savings program is also, will be held even to when you leapfrog. But we have plenty of time for more one-on-one questions too. We'll be heading up to lunch, and Cody and Grant and I are available, as well as the residents. So I think we'll be heading out this door, and then we'll be breaking you up into small groups to head up to lunch. But thank you so much for being here, and thank you again to Amy and Marnie.
Thank you.
For joining us.
Okay, folks.